welcome guys again to another episode of the Black RVers podcast. We are your hosts, Fox and Miles, and thank you guys again for joining us and tuning into the show for all your likes, watches, subscribes, and all those things. We really do appreciate it.
Yes.
And so today we have two special guests. I think every guest that we're going to have is going to be special.
This is true.
But I think they're extra special because they're really cool. So we're going to interview today Mr. and
Josh
Mrs.
and Amber.
Josh
Gordy.
and Amber Gordy.
Yay.
Yay.
So thank y'all for being here with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
So if you could introduce yourselves, let us know about your background and where you are, and
Oh man, it's always so hard. Like, how much do you go into detail?
As much as you want.
Yeah, born. Used to be wearing diapers, but no. So I'm Josh, alongside my wife Amber. Together, we make up the owners of the Warthen RV Park, located in Warthen, Georgia. I grew up in Warthen. Actually, that's my hometown. So it's a very small town, very rural setting. And of course, we'll get more into the park, I guess, later on. But from there, I was fortunate enough to have a football scholarship, played at Central Michigan University. And that's actually where I know my wife from. Okay. And she's a Michigan native.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they just love the country boys, I guess. But
Well, he kind of already touched on everything. As he said, I'm from Michigan, Lansing to be exact. And like I said, we met at Central Michigan University. Then I moved down here and we kind of reconnected. And yeah, like I said, I work alongside with him at Warthen RV Park, and we just try and just work together to bring something for everyone to come and enjoy themselves, whether it's in a tent or RV, just to kind of be able to get out, whether you're adventurous or you're just kind of laid back. But either way, have something for everybody, a little variety of everything.
Yeah.
That's cool. No,
that's really cool. So one of the reasons why we definitely wanted to interview you guys is because we were trying to set up some sort of meetup in August, but because of everything going on, we had to cancel it. And especially because a lot of people that, I guess follow us are older also. Yeah. So we wanted to be sure that, everyone's being safe. But also, it's almost like you guys are like a unicorn because we have been looking, one of the main purposes we went on there is to find Black businesses to support. And so when we would go to RV parks that were offered on our membership, they were all either what do you call franchises, or owned by white people. Yeah. And so to hear when you reached out, Josh, to us, I'm like, oh my God, there are Black, Black RV parks out there.
And it was ridiculous timing because we were thinking it's we're going to do this meetup and stuff. Where we're going to host it. And then you shot us a message and it was like, wait,
divine.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. How did this happen?
So how did y'all even, so firstly, you moved from Michigan to Georgia. And so was that for work or was it,
or are you just tired of being cold? Because I know Michigan is cold.
Well, I had already, before I went to Central Michigan, I had already had an idea that I was going to move down here and go to college down here. And different things played out to where I went to school up there, but I did want to stick to it still after graduating. So right after graduating, I think I stayed home for maybe a year, a little bit. And then I have a first cousin down here. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to make that move. That's the only person I had down here. But I said, I'm just going to make that move and just start fresh. And so, that's pretty much it, really. Just kind of stepping out.
Absolutely. I always look up to people who can do that, who just I'm just gonna go, I'm just gonna take a leap of faith. But starting out, so you all met, you all fell in love, clearly. So how did this idea for starting an RV park even come up? Was it something that was always your dream, or was it just kind of oh well, let's just do this and see what happens?
Right.
Yeah, so it kind of started, actually the whole process started around 2011, 2012. But naturally, I'm a real estate guy. Okay. So, I'm always into real estate and just finding good deals and good opportunities. So it actually started out sort of a real estate play, honestly. It was 30 acres for sale, like that butted up right to my mom's land. Good price, 52,000. Sorry to all my folks that's in high price real estate.
Yeah. I was like, imagine.
Right. Hey.
But hey, if you want to buy some land down there, come on.
Hey.
It's not like the move,
I know,
man.
honestly.
So yeah, and so it's supposed to be 30 acres, but at the last minute, somebody else came in and swooped in and bought 3 of those acres. So I ended up with 27, which is still good.
Yeah.
And at the time, they were talking about bringing a big not manufacturing, but a big mining plant to the area. And just me being opportunistic, let me find a way to kind of grab this opportunity, and monetize it too. So I was gonna say, hey, put some RV lots in. Hookups for people gonna be working in the area.
Yeah.
The project gonna take a minimum. The project gonna take a minimum of 5 years. It always goes over. So that's originally how it started, honestly. But yeah, so got it in. But long story short, that project never started. Yeah, so it got shut down. But I had an RV park sitting there.
Yeah.
And so, like in any business, any entrepreneur will tell you, like you gotta pivot at times. So, it just called for more marketing, because at the time it was just gonna be right there. So on the market, it's gonna be, hey, you got these lots, hook up and tell all your friends about it. But
yeah,
so it caused me to have to market out and try to get other contract workers that's in the area, which has been the sort of backbone of the business. From inception.
Yeah.
That's having those long terms in there. That's what keeps the bills paid, honestly, and it's been good. It's been good for us, and it gives you an opportunity to now jump out into other things. So over the past couple of years, we've really been focused on trying to get more into the recreation side of things, have it more of this is a place I want to go for the weekend type. RV Park. So just adding little stuff here and there. And I saw you guys are Ramsey fans, so once you save up for it, then we do something, like that route. But
yeah, I think that's really cool. And you kind of answered the question I was going to ask you, like, okay, so now what? Like, like when the plan like fell apart, a lot of people would be like, well, okay, well, let's just, ditch this whole thing. Yeah. But your reaction was to like, okay, let's figure out how else we can make this work. So like, did you all have any experience with RVing prior to this? Or like, was it just like, this is just a good opportunity?
Yeah. No, we didn't. But I will say, since, obviously since getting to park and, learn a lot but just, I love the community. It's such a tight knit type community when everybody get together, man, because it's with anything. What I tell people, I don't care what you got in common. Once you get together with those people, it's an automatic synergy between everybody,
Oh, yeah.
But again, I'm big on real estate. If I go to cookout, I can't really have a conversation with people about it because I'm so excited about it. Okay, but I go to these real estate meetups and everybody's talking the same language, and that's when the antennas go up and everything. But
do you think? I guess you guys having an RV park. Do you feel like you've hit it at a right time? Because it seems like RVing and traveling and like van life and stuff seems to be booming right now. Do you, or at least it appears that way, I guess, over the past couple of years. Do you feel like you're like at a good nook in time to like catch to start your RV park?
I think so, especially within the last, year or two, I want to say, last year, we've just seen a real increase in just people that even if it's their first time just trying to venture off and try something new and becoming hooked. You've seen like increase in that. And then especially within our Black community, just having different events so people come out. And last year we had one to where we didn't necessarily host it. It was just something that was brought to us. And we kind of took over with hosting it, but, it was something that was naturally brought to us, and we weren't very sure how it would turn out, how it would go. And that was pretty much our first experience of just, like you said, the close-knit relationship with everybody that you don't even know. You just become, close to them. And that was our first, like I said, our first experience with that. And it just kind of took off from there as far as everything.
So Amber, I'm gonna ask you, like, do you work in, like, what do you do professionally before this?
So, well, right before that, staying at home we have 2 children. With them. And then I also did a learning coach for homeschool kids. And then before that, I was teaching pre-K and kindergarten.
That's really cool. Yeah. No, like when people say like they're stay-at-home parents, first of all, that's a whole job and a half, right? So like, hats off to you, because that's intense. But when I guess when Josh brought this to you, or I don't know how like the idea like was, I guess, communicated, were you just kind of like gung ho and like, okay, let's just do this? Like, what was your reaction and your feelings about this?
So honestly, I'm actually asked that often, but honestly, when the idea of the park came along, I was just reconnecting with Josh. So it wasn't even, that wasn't my plan. That wasn't like, I wasn't a part of that vision at the time. And of course, as we started dating and I started learning more about it, and especially when we got married, I kind of dove in and started, trying to see his vision or where he wants it to go. Especially right now, like recently, I've really, because him and his mother's the manager. So him and his mother really kind of took over in that side of the business. And as of lately and recently, I just really kind of dove in with him and said, okay, let's get this up and running, and let's, try and put some of my vision with his vision and really just make the dream come true.
I love that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, too. Because like even before, like past year, when we're trying to get more into the recreation side, which it takes more hands-on that way. Like before that, like I said, we were just having contract work. They come in 6 months, 8 months. Only work you got to do then is just checking them in, collect the monthly lot rent, and that's it. But now that we're trying to do more upbeat, I guess, things with the park, it takes more. It takes social media presence. It takes making that website as optimal as possible, and everything that way. So, but yeah, and can I make a request? When she mentioned my mom on the manager, can we get a picture of my mom pop up? I want to make sure I give us.
Yes, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, because we remotely, so the park is actually 2 hours from our home. But so without her there, we wouldn't be able to run at all. And she lives pretty much on site next door. But again, it doesn't take too much work to run it, as long as you get your systems in place. It can be hard if you're not leveraging technology like you should. But just it's just entrepreneurship, learning how to optimize.
A lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So let me ask, so this sounds like it's a family business, right? What is it like, one, I guess, being married and working together? Because I know a lot of people feel like, okay, we're married, but we don't want to work together because it might be like added stress, and or like it'd be a problem having like work-life balance. Right. So not pillow talking about businessy things of being present. Like firstly, how is it working out for you all, like being in business together?
Actually, I feel like we haven't had any issues. It's actually been kind of exciting to an extent, just because his process of thinking and my process of thinking can be different. But once we start kind of throwing ideas out there, we kind of start syncing them together and just really making it work. So even at home, sometimes because we're both entrepreneurs, there are times where you should probably be eating dinner or, focused on this, but something to pop up in your head and you're like, hey, what do you think about this? And, oh yeah, I think, so it's still all through our day. Like that is our life. But I mean, obviously we do take time to do other things. And like I said, we have 2 children, so it's not all focused around it, but
right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, well said. I don't think I have too much to it.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And I also like this, like what's coming to mind is like legacy. You know what I mean? Because even including like your mother, like bringing her in on businessy things and stuff like that. And I know that like a lot of Black families like are trying to find something for themselves that one they can like pass down to other people, but can also be used to, you know, support their people like now today.
Yeah.
And so like, so when you had this idea for the RV park, like what was your thinking in, was your mom just like, I want to help? Or were you thinking like, let me bring my mother into this process, you know?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. 'Cause at the time I was still, you know, I don't know if y'all didn't know, but I played professional football too. So played 6 years. But I didn't want to make that same mistake as a lot of people did. Most people just, you know, they make it and they just get their parents or relatives, just give them money. You know, I didn't want to do that. I always thought a little deeper. I thought a little further out. You know, why not create something that's going to forever pay you, family member? You know, so even from the time of purchasing the land to getting it cleared and all that, like it was a lot of my family was involved. Uncle, who's very handy, he pretty much helped oversee the whole project. Built the office building, built the well pump house. Got electricians in my family. They helped out. Then with the ongoing management, like we were talking about, you know, that's when my mom comes into play. So yeah, it's all about your legacy for me and us and the kids. And even just again back to my real estate side, you know, I think my mom kind of saw that side of me too, and so she, you know, when I got her a couple properties, and you know, again, it gives her that cushion too as well. But that's big. That's big for us.
Yeah. I think that speaks well of like community. Like I feel like when we're trying to like bring forth a vision, sometimes we look at the resources that we like just ourselves like individually have, but we don't really consider like the wealth of resources that we have. Because you talked about like your uncle and like people being like just having electricians like in your family and stuff like that. And had you tried to bear this whole thing by yourselves, like just you two, then like would it be a thing? You know what I mean?
Or even the impact of like going outside of so like you mentioned electricians or even like carpenters, like it's a different impact when you're just hiring random contractors, but when it's family it's different. It's like the money circulates within like, you know, your core group or whatever, so it definitely has a different impact.
Keep dollars circulating in the community, trying to get the city. You gotta get it up. But yeah, and back to the last event, I had a cousin come out. She did the media, like pictures and videos.
Oh, nice.
What else?
Maintaining the campgrounds.
Maintenance. Just make all the maintenance. Still, he does all the kind of like emergency maintenance. You got a plug go out or something, you come in and switch it out. Just had actually contacted one of my good classmates, close classmates yesterday. He's gonna bring some sand out there for our volleyball court.
Nice.
But yeah, it's once you get something like that rolling, it's very easy to, not easy, but it's good to be able to keep everything in house in community.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. I like that. And also like when you're using your community, you know that the people's heart behind it is pure. Like they want to see you succeed. They want to see you win, you know, as opposed to sometimes buying, which we're dealing with now. We're at my mother's house currently, and like she's getting work done to her house, and you can see like when people just trying to, I'm just trying to get a job done. I'm trying to get a check, right? It's like, oh well, I'm gonna cut corners and like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't really trust them. Yeah. Unfortunately, like you can family sometimes. Yeah. So. So what was your, I know that you said in the beginning, like your hope was for like contractors to come for the project that was canceled. Now going forward, like what is your hope for your campground, for your park?
So yeah, right now we still set aside about 30 lots for contractors. Cause you gotta have a steady, it's kind of like subscription model, right? You know, all companies have a subscription so they get that recurring monthly income. So that, like I said, that's real good. And so we set aside 20 lots for our events or people just coming in and out for a day like that. Ultimately, you know, we like to have all 50 lots in one day and out the next day. You know,
Yeah.
That's where you get your higher margins. You know, you got to work up to it. So starting with the events now, just showing people that we got the space and all the stuff to have a great event. You know, our next vision is to have other groups come in and host their meetups at our park. You know, while we like putting events together, you know, why not let other people run their own events?
Right.
Absolutely.
We just get the park fee. So
absolutely.
That's cool.
So I know that you mentioned an event that you're having at the end of the month. Do you want to take time to like talk about that? And
yes, we have a meetup, which is going to be on July 30th, that weekend through August 2nd. Basically, it's just we have a lot of people coming in. We have tent sites for those who are in tents. We have RV sites, and basically we have a lot of activities from meet and greets to game night to our campfire and cocktails. We have kids activities because I know lately we've seen increase of people bringing their children along, and they're looking for things to keep their kids busy as well, instead of just kind of locked up in the camper on the phones.
Right.
So we've set some activities aside for them.
Yeah, people want to fish. The state park is 10 minutes away from us.
Nice.
We're in the process now trying to get all the permits for our own pond. So hopefully next year we'll have it. Oh, no, I'm calling it in this year. We'll have it in.
hey,
Nice.
absolutely.
And the most exciting part, the ATVs.
Yeah, what everybody look forward to.
Yep. So we encourage people to bring their own toys, as we call them, the ATVs. But we also have a few out there for our campers to rent, and they can just kind of ride. We have we have all those acres to ride out, and then we also have different trails to ride. And what we have each night is a night ATV ride, which is guided. So Josh or usually our uncle will do the guiding, and we go along with them and just kind of do a night through the paths, and you get to see the sunset and all of that. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Good. It lasts about it's about an hour trail ride. So you get a good you get real acquainted with your forward them.
Yes.
Wow,
that sounds
really
cool. Yeah, I would love to try that.
Yeah.
Definitely most look forward to thing. Everybody who call, yeah, we're gonna rent them. So a vision I had, and it's good seeing it play out. Because for years, I'm like I know, because it's stuff I grew up doing. You can do that.
Yeah.
I know people from the city. I know if they came down here, they'd love to do this type of stuff because they don't get to do it every day. They don't have the space to. So, we just found out a way to incorporate it with the event, and it's been nothing but success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
So when you were starting this project, when you were starting the RV park, did you all run into like any complications or like issues or like I call them like learning experience, right? So not like failures, but just opportunities to learn.
I think just having to knowing the importance of all the permits and stuff you got to get, and mainly it was for like the water and sewer. That's the biggest things. Since we pump our own water, we pretty much our own water system out there. We got our own water system, so we have to pump the water and chlorinate it. So, even that process was because I was thinking, hey, just get a well dug,
right?
Yeah.
Up to the lot, but it was a little more than that. So you got to actually chlorinate the water, and on top of that, you got to send in monthly samples. Which after you learn about it, you realize the importance of that.
Right.
You don't want feeding that many people, contaminated water. But so that was definitely a learning curve on that. And in the sewer, just I was familiar with sewer. I mean, septic tanks. Out there in the country, have septic tanks, so it wasn't a big deal. But just the amount we needed, I had to put in 7 septic tanks. So, pretty big operation. But I'd say that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how you're like, I got experience with septic tanks. Meanwhile, people struggle.
Right.
Like,
I have no idea what you're
talking about. Just
another funny hiccup. Like after we, got everything done, we probably had, our first couple people come in and hook up at the park. But I was, when you hook your sewer from your RV to the sewer line in the ground, they had them sticking up too high, so so when it drained, it wouldn't drain properly. As you know now. So that was a big learning. It's like, if you didn't know, we didn't know, we don't know.
Right, right.
But they ended up coming and just basically chopping them off so to be on more of a deep. But I was like, oh man, how embarrassing is that? But yeah, stuff like that, you learn that's your best lesson right there.
Yeah.
You take those and move on.
Yeah. I love that. I love you all's attitude. Just like, just basically just trying out things. Like just that happened.
Flow,
yeah.
Go the ebb and flow, man.
So how does it feel, I guess, because I know we mentioned, like for our experience anyway, we didn't see a lot of like Black owned RV parks. And so are you all like in community with other ones, or are you just kind of like, on your own, so to speak, in this for right now?
Well, yeah, we so being on Facebook, we're part of a lot of African American groups. Somebody actually started a African American owners group.
Nice.
So
nice.
And they have a list that goes around too. And I think just throughout the whole country, I think they've located like 10, 10 parks. So, but it definitely, it feels good to be a part of, that small community. And knowing that you can give a place for people to feel comfortable. And we get that a lot too. Like people like, oh my God, just like coming here with, with a bunch of people that look like me, because everywhere else they go, they're the only person.
Yeah.
Now I can be with my people. I can relax how I want to relax, do what I like to do with other people that like to do the same thing. So, that's definitely a good feeling. And yeah, I mean, and being Black owned, it doesn't mean it's all peaches and cream, as you can imagine. We've had a couple instances where, because the way we handle check-in a lot of times is like, okay, you pay for your reservation, get your lot number, you just come in, hook up when you're ready. You don't have to have no contact really, if you don't need to. But we've had people come in, hook up, hook the camper up. You know how long it takes to hook a camper up.
Yes.
Yeah. But then my mom show up, to kind of do the paperwork. Go back in the office, get the paperwork, come back out, they pack it up. One guy straight up said, hey, I'm not prejudiced or anything, but my wife doesn't feel, like, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, you get that. It's funny, but you know what? That just says to me, like, do we as a people see how other people feel uncomfortable about letting their money go outside their community?
Yeah.
We got that same mindset. Try to keep our dollars in our community as much as possible.
Yeah.
How much further we can be as a people.
Yeah.
It don't mean you're anti-white. You just pro-black.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you can build each other,
yeah,
we can grow and we can do things collectively. So, but when something like that happens, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Plenty more people out there.
I'm so sorry that happened though.
Yeah,
that makes me mad. I'm just gonna be honest. Like that makes me upset.
It's just crazy. They took all that time to hook up.
Right.
But then they see you face to face.
It's crazy.
When I answer the phone, I got my professional voice on a lot of times. Right. So they don't really.
Right.
And
right.
Again, that's sad. But it's just how you talk. You change. You put on your professional voice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, code switching is like a way of life for Black people, like having to, infiltrate spaces and stuff. But yeah. So like to that point, it's amazing to me. Like, one, had I known, like, and again, it could be just my ignorance and lack of research or whatever, but I guess I just kind of assumed that Black people aren't own RV parks. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when I was younger RVing, like I would see a lot of like, white owned RV parks or like the KOAs or, other
Thousand Trails,
like
all the other like big name popular franchises or whatever.
Yeah, like they're dominated by white spaces, and so by white people, and it therefore becomes like a white space, right? But then when I would go to these parks, there was a sense of like, I don't really feel 100% comfortable here. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not all of them, but a lot of them, they do look at you like, oh, what are you guys doing here? And like, oh, how can you guys afford to RV? And just questions that other people wouldn't get. You know what I'm saying? And or even where were we at? In Colorado, and this guy is walking his dog, and so like we're backing up and like plugging up and stuff or hooking up. And the guy's like walking with his dog, and he stops and stares at us. And so, me, I'm just like, hi, like, how are you doing? Whatever. And he just like looks like baffled and then like keeps walking. And I'm just like, I do not feel comfortable here.
And I think it's a mixture of, of course we're Black, but like we're also younger.
It's
so,
true,
like,
but
it's just like, why are you here? This doesn't make any sense. Like you're strange.
Yeah.
What's funny about that is, like you said, being younger and being Black, melanated. As Josh said, we were remote. We run it remotely, but we have been there lately a lot more often than before. And I can say I would like to think they didn't mean it that way, but we have had someone come up and Josh would go greet them if we're out there, and they're like, "Oh, do you work here?" And it's just, but I can say that wasn't even a bother to me, but it was such a good feeling inside when we can say, no, we're the owners.
Right.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's just a different type of feeling when you know that we own it and it's ours, and they come to us for business.
Did that, going off of that point, like we mentioned like KOAs and stuff like that. And I know some people run those as a franchise. Like, was that a consideration when you were setting up your RV park, where you were like, I'm just going to do it strictly myself, or did you think about going through a franchise?
Yeah, I haven't really thought the franchise route. Like I said, we just set it up just kind of on our own, and just want to see if we can make it out, put our own stamp on it, I guess. Not saying it could be something in the future, maybe. But yeah, there's nothing I've considered, to this point, because I'm sure you got to follow certain guidelines when you do that and everything. So a lot of switching you got to do, a lot of improvements you have to be made and stuff like that. So,
I would imagine that, like, especially like in the adventure space, like you talking about switch, like being, and I feel like at a certain level, like Black folk do it because survival, but also like, having to be, something that's easily digestible, you know what I'm saying? Or like, and I get that some people start like working with like franchises because they're like, oh, it's easier than starting it from the ground up, to have like a location or like somewhere to like, start. But I definitely, from hearing you all's experience and also like the experience of other business owners, it does feel good to just own it outright and be able to make your own decisions and not have to go through all the red tape and try to please other people with what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things I've heard from like just a lot of people I played with formerly that went into franchises and stuff. They say, it's good, but at the same time, like you gotta do stuff their way or it's the highway. If you want to make, like you said, make any changes, you got to go through them. You got to get it approved, and that can take a while before you even get it done. So, but yeah, so it's definitely some pros and cons to the franchise space.
Yeah. We appreciate you all coming and talk with us. Please, I would like to ask one more question though. If you were to give advice to someone, or even to yourself, say like, we're talking 2011, so like 10 years ago, right? If you were to give advice to someone who's thinking about either starting their own business or like starting their own RV park or founding it, like what would be the advice that both of you all would give them?
I guess one thing, for myself that I have learned from this is just to really, as simple as it sounds, but to go for it and to realize that there's going to be bumps in the road, but don't give up. Like, as you heard Josh tell you about different things that even when he first started, he kind of ran into, and then as we worked together, we've seen together different issues. And the thing is, we didn't give up. We just, okay, what's next? How can we change that? How can we, make it better? And so just really, that's it. Just go for it and don't give up.
Hey, whatever business, RV park, whatever, run your own handyman business. Reach out to people who've done it before. No need to recreate the wheel. I think I did reach out in the beginning to a few parks, to get some ideas. One of the biggest things that I'm glad I did was somebody told me to put meters on all my lots. So with long-term people, you can keep track of their electric usage and just bill them back for that. If I hadn't reached out, I wouldn't knew that aspect. So things like that. And specifically, if you're starting an RV park, when they're getting ready to cut down the timber, be on site, because if not, they're gonna leave down and leave you pretty hot. So, we kind of limit on ours on some of the shades, in some places, but
yeah.
We gotta plant some trees here soon to get shade right by the lots again. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So reach out, find out what other people's doing.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And I will also
don't grow too fast.
Yeah.
No need to be in a rush.
That's really good.
Slow, the foundation will be a lot more solid.
Yeah. I love that. Especially because I think it's easy if you were to come on a space, say RV park, for example, because that's what we're talking about. And you compare your RV park to the KOAs and these other places that have all this backing and, behind them, you would become discouraged. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's tough. That's tough to this day sometimes. You see people posting pictures of different things, man, that's nice. But we are who we are, take it or leave it. So,
yeah. And we do work with the team when it comes to that, because different times, sometimes he'll see something on social media and he'll, man, we don't have that. I'm like, no, we're fine. We have this. And then it'll be vice versa. I'm like, man, we could really use this. And he's like, no, we're fine with what we have, maybe later on, like you said, just take your time. Because otherwise you can wake up and say, okay, we need to go get this, order this, just to try to completely change the park. It's just not, it wouldn't be us if that was the case.
That's good. I love that. Yeah. Yes. Please, please plug your information, where people can find you, the event that you're having all that stuff,
social media, website, any of the things.
And we're also going to include it in the description and stuff.
So we have, Warthen Park. Sorry. Warthen RV-Park.com is the website. On Instagram, we're just Warthen RV Park all together. And on Facebook, it's Warthen Park. That's the handle, but we are Warthen RV Park on there as well.
Okay, awesome.
Get to either the Facebook page or straight to the website. You'll find a tab for the event. Mm-hmm. So that we try to revert people back to the events page so they can see what's going on.
So stay tuned.
Yep. Right now, I think we're about five lots from being at capacity for this event. But again, and two, I just want to let all the groups out there know. If you're a part of a group, take it to your group. Hey, if you want to come host your own event at our park, we'd love to do that too. Because we want to have an event where we can just pay our money to the event person, come back, set up our tables and chairs, and relax too. So, reach out to us for that. We'd love to collaborate with you on that one.
Thank y'all so much. Yes, please check them out. Please support. Yeah. If you know anybody like Josh mentioned, 10 other RV parks, you know what I mean? So it'd be great to be able to support our own,
Definitely.
So yes. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you again, guys, for joining us for another episode of the Black RVers podcast. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And definitely check out their website and, prepare for the events that they're coming on and all the events and stuff. Because that ATV thing does sound really cool.
It does.
So probably should check that out. Yeah. So you can go and take part. So until next time, guys, stay safe, be well. Much love.